everybody. It's a Wednesday. That means only one thing. It's time now for Supernatural News, right here on Darkness Radio, of course. And with that, we need a co-hostess. We bring in the one, the only, I'm going to keep it short today, Jessica Freeburg. Hi, Jessica. The reason I bring it short today is this. We have a huge show today, Jess.
Yeah.
And I mean a huge show. We have so many stories today. We got to get them all in today. We have so much going on. We got Bigfoot stories. We got to talk about this Conjuring thing. We have not one, but two paranormal hotspots that had unusual happenings this weekend that I want to talk about right off the top of the program. I want to get the serious stuff out of the way, and then we can joke and have fun. Sound fair?
Sounds good.
Okay. And I don't mean to bring stuff down on the funny and the ha-ha this week, but there's one incident that happened, and I don't know if you even saw it, Jess, this weekend, but there was something serious that happened in Virginia City, Nevada, home of the Washoe Club this past weekend. And it's one of those incidents that it's a kind of a ugly stain on a beautiful city and a beautiful location. One of those destinations that you absolutely love to go to, especially for those of us in the paranormal. We love to investigate the Washoe Club. You've seen it many times, many different paranormal programs, especially Ghost Adventures. If you've seen Ghost Adventures in the Washoe Club episode, it's one of their more famous episodes. I'm not going to link to the video. It's an ugly video. Essentially what it is, and you can find it online if you really want to. Essentially, a young African-American pollster is asking the question, are you going to vote in the next election? Who you're voting for? He approaches some people outside of the Firehouse Saloon in Virginia City. There's some argument as to whether they're affiliated with the Firehouse Saloon. The Firehouse Saloon themselves have said that they are not affiliated with them. Some research has been done that says not only are they affiliated with the Firehouse Saloon, but they're actually involved with the Firehouse Saloon. They may even be owners. That's up for debate. The language is raw. It's racist. They say it right to this young man's face. There's some gaslighting that's involved there. It's horrible. Nobody stands up for the young man until the very end of the video. They basically escort this young man down the street. It's horrible. It's absolutely abhorrent what they do to the young man. There's no excuse for it. They don't physically assault him, per se. I mean, one woman she's kind of got her hand on his back and is kind of walking him down the street. But it's a shame because here's the deal, folks. And I'm just speaking myself right now as someone who has African-American family members. In the year 2024, if you're white and you say there's no such thing as racism, you have your head in the sand. You're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong. You're dead wrong. If you think that it isn't alive and well and that this stuff doesn't happen and that it doesn't happen out in the open and that horrible incidents don't happen, you're dead wrong. And racism has just taken a more PC front. You know, it's still alive and well, and it's sickening. It's just sickening how blatant it is. And why we all don't have a turned stomach at how blatant it is beyond me. I don't know why we aren't, as I hit my microphone here, why we aren't a more kinder, gentler society in the year 2024. You know, we should have left all this crap in the 1960s when we had the first civil rights fight. when African Americans had to fight for civil rights. Why we can't look at all races and just say, you know what, it's just time to treat each other like human beings. I don't know why we're still doing this. I just don't know, Jess.
Sad.
Yeah. At the same time, there are. I don't want to use the. I don't want to use the dog whistle of there are good people on both sides, because I saw that argument online this weekend. But there are some good people and good businesses in Virginia City. They just did not show up for this kid, which they should be ashamed. There was nobody around for this kid. So yeah, you should be ashamed, Virginia City. I'll say that much. And that's where I'll leave my soapbox there. You got to do better. You just got to do better. We all got to do better. You know? Every day we can be better people. We can just be better people. There's no excuse, you know. You can sit there and you know, you can point and say, well, government program this, that's been done. Just stop. Stop pointing at the past. Start looking at the future. You know, if you don't treat people the way you want to be treated, then you're not doing a good enough job. Everybody should be treated the way that you want to treat people. Bottom line, you know, if you want to deal, and you hear a lot of people bring up religion, if you want to deal from a Christ-like perspective, act like Christ. Christ never discriminated. Don't discriminate. End of story.
Loved everyone.
He loved everyone. That's all you got to know. All right, with that, I'm off my soapbox. Our first story today has to do with this. We talked about the Conjuring House yesterday. I want to delve a little further into it. This Conjuring House story has legs of its own. I avoided it for weeks, Jess, for this reason, because Jason Hawes had it, and it was in his court, and he had been issuing YouTube videos over and over and over again, and he had interviewed the former Conjuring House employees. He had an employee by the name of Brian Danzero on his YouTube video, his YouTube show with JV. And they had talked about his employment. First of all, Jay had played a video from Brian just stating, and Brian had even, I want to clear up my thoughts here a little bit. Brian had even stated that he was going to get clapped back by the owner of the Conjuring House for even stating the truth behind what happened with his employment. That she would come out in the media and she would state that she was going to sue him over his true statements of what happened with his employment. But he didn't care. He didn't care about what repercussions were going to happen with his statement. Jason has taken up, and I admire him for this, has taken up the cause of the former Conjuring House employees because he realizes that they're powerless in their situation. Good on him. I think he's putting himself in a bad situation, but good on him. He can't, I mean, personally, he can't win at this. I say personally, he can't win at this because he's putting a lot of skin in the game. He's not going to recoup any costs in this. He's going to take a ding to his reputation.
Right.
He's putting himself on the line and he's not getting anything out of it. He doesn't have anything to gain in this. I think a lot of people think, well, he's got a lot to gain. You look at, he's going to be the everyman's hero. No, because this can go terribly wrong at any time. I don't think people realize that. And what people don't realize is this owner of the Conjuring House, this woman is driven. Jay came out, and a lot of people, if you read the comments on and I encourage you to go to Jay's YouTube page and watch these videos, because we're not going to cover it all here today. We're barely going to scratch the surface. A lot of the comments have said some outrageous things like, well, maybe this woman's being possessed by the spirits in the Conjuring House, and that's why she's so off kilter with everything. No. Jay's come out and blatantly said, this is not a haunting. This is not a possession. This is mental illness. That's a quote from Jay. I'm not saying this. This is what Jay has said. Now, this could just be her perspective. Here's the story. The owner of the Conjuring House has fired Brian Danzaro on the advice of an 18th century ghost. Here's the story. One of the original employees of the haunted estate that inspired the Conjuring movies has been fired after the owner said a ghost accused him of stealing money. Brian Danzaro began working at the Burrillville farmhouse, also known as the Old Arnold Estate, back in 2021, and was the last of the original staff at the property. During his time, he was working for Jacqueline Nunez, who had bought the Conjuring House for a whopping $1.5 million back in 2022. But on July 19th, Danzaro was let go after Nunez told him that the spirit of the former owner, John Arnold, informed him that he had stolen $3,000 in cash. Now, here's the deal. The house has a security system. It has cameras. If Brian stole the money, produce the video.
Right.
It's as simple as that. She said, John Arnold told me you've been stealing money out of the cash box for the past 2 months. I literally stopped and I had to correct her, like, John Arnold, one of the original owners, Danzaro said as he showed the text to Target 12. The former employee also claims that the voices in her head told her that he was physically attacking Nunez. The voices in her head, including John Arnold, told her I'm sorry, not physically, but psychically. The voices in her head, including John Arnold, told her I was psychically attacking her along with the previous staff, and that the voices, including John Arnold, also told her I stole money from her. He wrote on his GoFundMe page. And yes, Brian's had to put together a GoFundMe page because Jacqueline Nunez is $9,000 in arrears to him for his salary.
It's crazy.
$9,000 in back pay. Now, of course, Brian has denied all theft allegations. He says he's not stolen that money. And instead is accusing Nunez of owing him that $9,000 in back pay. The disgruntled employee also said that when he asked for his last 5 weeks of pay, the owner refused and added that Nunez told him that Arnold had instructed her to not give him the money. A ghost told her, don't give him the money. Here's the actual, well, not the actual text, but a mock-up of the text of what was said between the two.
Oh, no.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's confused. That would be a confusing text to get.
John Arnold told me you've been stealing money out of the cash box for the past 2 months. And Brian says, John Arnold, one of the original owners. Like, huh? He also says he finds Nunez's account preposterous. For a spirit to go after a staff member in that manner, I've never heard of such a thing at any haunted venue, let alone the Conjuring House, he said. As a result, he's filed a complaint seeking unpaid wages with the Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training, which he should. I also think he should take it a step further, Jess. I think he should go to the Department of Revenue. Because if she wasn't paying him his wages, She also wasn't paying payroll taxes, which means she's probably not paying other taxes. Supposedly, she's a lawyer. She should know this stuff.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So if she's not paying withholding and she's not paying taxes, take her to the Department of Revenue. Start bringing the state down on her. You want to force the sale of the Conjuring house. There's no better way to do it than force this process along and eventually get that house up for auction.
Yeah, it's such a crazy story. I try to wrap my brain around like what her motivation is. I don't see how she can see this coming out in a good way at the end of the day.
I don't think she's thinking. That's the thing.
No. Yeah.
No. Nunez, who's a self-described medium, continues to say that the spirits of the most famous haunted and active locations in the world told her that he had been stealing. It does not matter whether you believe in the paranormal or not. I and every person is entitled to experiences that bring understanding and meaning to our lives, including being informed or warned of wicked actors and actions, she said in a statement. As far as Brian goes, my experience with him devolved quickly, culminating in his at-will employment termination. Nunez went on to say that he had been informed of other matters, that she had been informed of other matters that are untoward from previous staff and even mischievous guests, that Arnold had informed her of these, the ghost. Furthermore, the owner claims that her books also back up Arnold's allegations of theft, as they supposedly show discrepancies between merchandise orders and cash sales. Apart from this, she also denied owing her former staff member any money, saying that he has been made whole when counting the stolen money as part of his compensation. Nunez now plans to file a complaint with state officials in Burrillville on the grounds that Danzaro committed further egregious acts by appearing in YouTube videos, slandering me personally, and trying to damage my reputation and business at the Conjuring house. She's not going to win. The state won't take these YouTube videos in which he clinically, and I put this quite literally, clinically documented his experience, showing the texts. He goes through it like a lawyer.
Right.
That's not slander. That's reporting. I don't know what part of that is slander when you basically report what's told to you. Last year, DailyMail.com exclusively visited the real property that inspired the iconic series of horror movies. The home shot to notoriety after the Perron family was relentlessly haunted when they lived there in the 70s. They kind of give the history of the property there. But again, I encourage you to go to Jason's YouTube page. Watch the videos for yourself. There's a very interesting roundtable with the ex-employees there, in which they each tell their stories of how they were let go and their experiences with Jacqueline Nunez. I've had quite a few listeners who have said, Tim, have you watched the videos? Yeah, I've watched all of them. I haven't commented up until now because I don't have a dog in the fight.
Right.
I know Jay has a dog in the fight. That's why he stepped up. I wish him good luck. I wouldn't want to put my hat in that ring. It's going to be a long and messy fight. Because I'll tell you something, Jacqueline Nunez is like a hungry dog on a bone. If they think that they're going to wrestle that house away from her, it's probably not going to happen. There's a lot of people out there right now that want to boycott that house. That's fine. You speak with your dollars.
Right.
And you can speak with your dollars, folks. That's what you do. As a community, you certainly have the right to boycott the house and not give it your business. You have the right to email Jacqueline Nunez and let her know what you think. But at the same time, you have to realize that she paid over $1 million for that house. She's going to do everything she can to hang in there and try to get her investment back. And there's only one of two ways to do that. And that is hang in there and try to make a business out of it. Or two, turn around and sell it and make a profit. So unless you guys have the money to turn around and give her that profit and get her out of there, she's staying. So, if you don't have the money to force her out, well then, it is what it is. If you don't have that cash. So, with that, let's move forward in today's show and let's talk about those cake mummies. I know we talked about fingerprints in the past, Jess. There's a little bit more that's come in as far as those fingerprints off of those Peruvian mummies. Basically, it's this. The fingerprint analysis of the alleged alien mummies have suggested that the beings are not human, according to reports, which we reported previously. The Maria mummy was found to have prints that match no known human pattern. Now, back in January, forensic experts from Peru's prosecutor's office declared that the curious finds from the Nazca region were crafted using a mix of paper, glue, metal, and bones from humans and animals. Local farmers reportedly stumbled upon these oddities in 2017, which then caught the eye of intrigued researchers. The so-called mummies boasted bizarre features like elongated heads and three-fingered hands, igniting a frenzy of speculation and heated discussions about their true nature and inevitably their authenticity. Now, a former Colorado prosecutor turned defense attorney has scrutinized one of the dozen or so specimens, according to the Daily Star. These were not traditional human fingerprint patterns, said Joshua McDowell, the lawyer, referencing the diagonal grooves found on the fingerprints and toes of these entities. The specimen named Maria, which McDowell and his team examined, had fingerprints unlike any known to humanity. We did not see any loops or whorls on the prints of the fingers or on the toes, McDowell observed. I'm a former prosecutor. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I've seen lots of fingerprints, and these were not classic fingerprints, he continued, stressing the uniqueness of Maria's prints compared to those of humans. However, he cautioned that it would be extremely premature to jump to any solid conclusions about these figures discovered in the Peruvian desert. Back in January, forensic experts from Peru's prosecutor's office debunked the idea that they could be extraterrestrial beings. The conclusion is simple. They are dolls assembled with the bones of animals from this planet with modern synthetic glues. Therefore, they were not assembled during pre-Hispanic times, explained forensic archaeologist Flavio Estrada, who spearheaded the analysis. They are not extraterrestrials. They are not aliens. So, Jess, Flavio Estrada says they're bullshit. What do you think?
They kind of seem to be.
Yet you still have one archaeologist who's pushing them as the real deal.
Just wants to believe so bad.
Yeah, that he does. That he does. We'll go to a different area of South America. We'll go to southern Brazil, where there was an unidentified object that was found hovering in the sky over southern Brazil this past week. The clip shows a strange object that remained stationary over the Brazilian city of, I believe it is Curitiba, filmed and uploaded by YouTube user Zona de Conhecida? That's a long word. The clip, which was recorded on July 21st and uploaded 3 days later, was quickly picked up by news outlets and shared on social media. I never believed in UFOs until last Sunday when I filmed this unidentified object, Zona wrote. At first I thought it was a drone, but it had no spears, and then I thought it was a balloon, but the trajectory was in a straight line, and suddenly something similar to landing gear appears. The footage was unsurprisingly met with strongly conflicting views, with some users remaining adamant that the object was a drone and others insistent that it was something more unusual. I don't rule out any possibility for now, although it looks nothing like today's drone, Zona added. I'll tell you what, I'll post the footage, I'll post the article in the description of this program, and I'll let you decide. But here's a picture, Jess, of what it looks like. It kind of looks like the stereotypical UFO right there.
Yeah, it does.
Picture.
Looks very much like your typical UFO flying saucer.
Yeah. So, but I'll post the article for you, and you can watch the YouTube video yourself, and you can decide for yourself there and decide whether that's actually something there. You know, every once in a while we talk about crop circles on this program and let you decide whether they're real or man-made, because some of them are very, very good. This one, Jess, what do you think of that?
Ooh, I think that is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like a perfect circle with some lines coming in there.
Yeah.
Almost like a 5-leaf clover.
It is. It kind of, isn't it? Yeah. There's a crop circle in Badbury, England. Great town name, by the way, which is sparking a police investigation. Although these days crop circles tend to be regarded more as works of art than evidence of alien visitors, the phenomenon still manages to generate interest whether a new design shows up. Not everyone, however, appreciates it when they do. In a local news report out of Badbury, England recently, a farmer was particularly annoyed when he discovered that someone had created a large, intricate crop formation in one of his fields. The design itself is certainly impressive and must have taken someone quite some time and skill to make, but it also caused several £1,000s worth of damage to the crops. This has had a significant financial impact on the farmer during a challenging summer due to the weather, Police Constable Kate Schofield said in a statement. I would ask anyone who has had information about the damage to please come forward and contact Dorset Police. The incident demonstrates that while creating crop circles might seem like a harmless activity, they can and do have a genuine impact on local farmers. As things stand, the persons responsible have yet to be found. I don't know, Jess, this has such a symmetrical exactness to it that, you know, I'm going to quote somebody famous here. It must be aliens.
It's quite perfect.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I certainly wouldn't have the capacity to do that if it wasn't an alien, but
that's more than just a truck and a board, you know? Yeah, that's
I feel like if that's the case, especially in this day and age, wouldn't there be some evidence of that? Like, don't we have some trail cams out there or something?
Yeah. Especially on farms. Farms more and more have more cameras out there, you know, to sight things in their fields. You would think that there would have been some cameras out there somewhere that would have caught something.
I want them all to be by aliens, but
yeah, that's true. That's true. Got another story here, Jess, about a lunar biorepository that's been proposed as a backup for life on Earth. You know, the last few weeks we've been talking more and more about using the moon as either a respite for life on Earth or a short stop, or being able to exist at least for a short amount of time on the moon. Scientists have proposed building a special facility on the moon to preserve life in the event of a major disaster. I don't know what it is, but lately millionaires and billionaires are talking about getting off this sphere. I
don't like it.
I know. There was a story recently on, TMZ has this new program, which we're working on getting Ben Hansen on the program in September. And he's part of the new program that TMZ has on the air right now. That's focused on the strange and scandalous. It's on here in this market on My 29 in the Minneapolis market at 4:30 every afternoon. And I love the program because, first of all, Harvey Levin is very much paranormal centered and paranormal centric. I love Harvey Levin for that. But they had a feature on one of the programs about how the rich in this country are not only building shelters, but they're looking at getting off planet, which is bizarre. The elite in this country know something, and they know something's coming. And a lot of them are tapped into the Defense Department. And they know that some big world event is coming. I don't know what that world event is, whether it's a war or some sort of celestial event that's going to happen. But they all know something. Something major, catastrophic is going to happen, where it involves a huge population shift or population move, where people need to get out of here. So they're looking at a way to move in the event of major disaster, which is odd.
Yeah, you're hearing it more and more, and it's creepier than most creepy things to me.
Right.
Don't like it.
The idea of storing large amounts of biological samples to serve as a backup in case of a catastrophe is certainly nothing new. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault in Norway, for instance, contains over 1 million seed samples sourced from countries all across the world. Were you even aware of that?
No.
Yeah. But what if even this is insufficient to preserve life if the worst could happen? To tackle this issue, scientists have now proposed building a biorepository, not in the frozen north, but on the lunar surface, a place where samples of cells belonging to some of the planet's most important animal species could be stored far away from the effects of climate change or unexpected disasters. The idea certainly has merit. The Svalbard seed vault, for example, was recently subjected to flooding, while Ukraine's own seed vault was destroyed during its war with Russia. If there has not been people at Svalbard, flooding could have damaged the biorepository, said Dr. Mary Hagedorn of the Smithsonian's National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute. So all in all, the idea of having a really secure, passive biorepository for safeguarding Earth's biodiversity seems like a really good idea. By situating a lunar vault within deep craters that are never exposed to the sun, a biorepository on the moon would be able to function practically indefinitely without fear of weather damage. That said, it may be some time before something like this could actually be built. We know now to do this and can do this and will do this, but it may take decades to finally achieve, said Dr. Hagedorn. So, we reported on that cave that was found on the moon a week or two ago.
Yes.
You take something like that cave, and if you're able to build some sort of repository in that cave, you could store seeds for different animal cultures and human cultures, put it in that repository, and you'd have a backup in case something catastrophic happened to the Earth. You could restart
Which isn't going to happen. That's not happening. I don't want to even think about it.
Denial, just ain't a river in Egypt. At least that's the theory. Well, I tell you what, Jess, with that, let us take our break. When we come back, boy, oh boy, do we have some special stuff for Nightmare Fuel.
Great.
If you think denial just ain't a river in Egypt, Jess, strap in, kid. We got some stuff for you. Also, later on in the program today, not only do we have a ghost story, we got a couple of Bigfoot stories for you. We'll also talk about Egypt's pyramids and were they built not by aliens, but by a simple hydraulic lift system. We'll talk about why humanity is actually genius. We'll get a bit away from the paranormal and why it may just be normal. Also, Jess, are you ready? We're going to talk about monkeys again today.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Are you ready for monkeys to take over the Earth?
No.
We'll talk about why the first step towards monkeys taking over the Earth may have been taken this week. Did I shock you with that one?
This whole episode is terrifying.
Is it? You really think it's terrifying?
A little bit.
Okay. Well, I didn't mean for it to be terrifying. And we'll have maybe one other surprise there. So there's surprises abound today. But we've got surprises. Surprises upon us, surprises upon surprises. There you go. It's Supernatural News on a Wednesday. It's Darkness Radio with Tim Dennis and Jessica Freeburg. We'll be back with lots of surprises coming up right here on Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Right over there is our co-host, Jessica Freeburg. Jess, it's raining to beat the band lately in this town. I don't know what it is about lately, but you know what they say. April showers, May flowers. I know it's August showers and September flowers. I don't know. I don't know. In September, it's fall, isn't it?
A wet summer, yes.
Yeah, it's been a wet summer. Although, you know what I do like about this summer? We haven't cracked 90 too often.
No, it hasn't been so hot.
Yeah, we've had what I like to call a Canadian summer. It hasn't been all that hot, which I like. Although it's been humid a lot lately. I'm not a big fan of the humidity, but that's okay. Not a bad summer overall. You know, I do have to mention, I do have a happy deal here. Made me very, very happy. Jim and Jana, I'm going to start sounding like the local news here. Are you ready for this? I'm going to get all mushy here for a minute.
Yes.
You know, I told you I like to feed the chippers blueberries, right, for their treat. So lately I've discovered, now, as far as I go, and Jim and Jana, I got a little tip for you here. Jim and Jana decided to feed their chippers blueberries. And they sent me pictures.
Aww.
So I have the cutest pictures now of their, and you know, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put up a blog at darknessradioshow.com with Jim and Jana's permission. I'll post the pictures of their chippers that they sent eating blueberries. And I've got, and I'll compare and contrast. I'll put up my pictures of my chippers with their blueberries too. So we'll just call it chippers with blueberries.
So sweet.
Yeah. So you'll be able to see the pictures of the chippers with blueberries. But they really do love them. And you said, Jess, that your dogs?
Yeah, they're like my dog's favorite snack.
Yeah.
They love them.
Yeah, they love the blueberries. It's mainly because they're so sweet. And now, do your dogs leave the skins behind?
Oh no, they eat them, gobble them right up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious because Jim and Jana didn't say, but see, my chippers, they'll leave the skins behind. They eat the insides, they leave the skins behind because they're too coarse. They're too coarse. But now, see, I started eating sweet cherries. You know, the natural cherries?
Yeah.
Because you got tart cherries, you got sweet cherries. I started eating sweet cherries because my grandfather, his favorite treat was cherries, natural cherries, during the summertime. Like when it's cherry season, he would go get cherries. So I decided I would try cherries for the chippers, right? And they absolutely love cherries. In fact, I think it's Indy who's eating the cherries along with me. So the other day, I put one or two out on the porch right near the hamster bottle. And I thought he had grabbed a pouch full of seeds, and he popped right back up onto the porch, grabbed a big cherry, and then ran back to the den, right? And it was just the cutest little thing. I'm like, you're the one who's eating them all. But yes, it was just cute. So there you go, blueberries and cherries. But yeah, so Jim and Jana, if you're listening, try a sweet cherry. See if they like them, because I think they like them even better than blueberries. So there you go, blueberries and cherries. It just made me so happy, Jess. Oh God! There they are again. I'm telling you, every time you start to get happy about something, there they are, Jess.
Here they are.
All right, well, the first story today, as far as those assholes AI go, also involve aliens.
Oh.
It's a double dipper. Scientists are proposing sending an AI into space to converse with aliens. It's your worst nightmare.
It's like all the bad things.
Maybe the aliens will probe the AI. Is there a way to anal probe an AI? Because if there is, I hope they find it.
Well, it depends. If you're getting it from Temu and it's a sex doll, it certainly has a place to probe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for bringing that full circle from last week. So instead of sending basic messages, what if we sent an AI capable of having a conversation with ET? For decades, humanity may have been sending messages out into the cosmos in an effort to attract the attention of any advanced alien civilizations who might have been listening. These messages typically contain anything from a basic greeting to fundamental information about our sciences, culture, and history. But what if there is a way to send something a bit more complex? In a recent article for Scientific American, SETI's Frank Marchis and NASA's Ignacio G. Lopez Francos put forward the idea of sending an artificial intelligence instead of a static message, I almost said satanic, but static message, to act as an interactive representative of our species. Such an AI could have a two-way conversation with an alien civilization. That is, until it screws up and says something that's, totally inappropriate, while answering any questions that they might have about us. It could also help to preserve our culture and history should a disaster befall us here on Earth. In the article, the scientists describe selecting an appropriate, well-curated large language model that encapsulates the diverse essence of humanity in the world we live in. There are certainly a few issues with the idea, including finding a way to transmit something this complex into deep space and the possibility that any potential recipients would be unable to actually compile it into a usable form. Still, it represents a novel approach to contacting aliens and does beg the question, what if aliens have the same idea? Could our first contact with ET be an alien AI that visits the Earth? Who knows? Perhaps something like this is actually already here. Some people believe that gray aliens, and actually we had an author who was on about a year and a half ago that believed that gray aliens were just androids.
Oh, okay.
They're just android sentries. They're not really aliens. They're just androids that are sent here as worker bees. And that the real aliens are on the other side of the galaxy.
Okay, that makes kind of sense. I was just researching the incident in Kentucky that occurred in 1955, where they were invaded by multiple little gray men.
Yep.
The Kelly Hopkins bill. All of a sudden, I can't think of words, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, and they said they shot him and it dinged like a ting, like it was hitting a tin can.
Yes.
It was one of the things they reported.
Yep. Yeah. So, in that case, it would make sense, wouldn't it? That they might be just sentries. Yeah. Meanwhile... All right, Jess. You thought that last one might be scary. We're going deeper.
Okay.
New experiments could prove that we live in a computer simulation.
Oh, like that movie. Wasn't there a movie?
The Matrix, yes. Although people want to prove that the Matrix is real. For years, scientists and philosophers have pondered over whether or not the real world isn't quite as real as we think. So what if we told you that the world that you live in isn't real? It might sound like a concept straight out of the Keanu Reeves science fiction favorite, The Matrix, but according to some of the world's top minds, the idea that we are living inside a computer simulation is not only possible, but perhaps even more likely than the idea that we are living in the real world. But what if that was true? How will we go about proving it? Well, one man thinks he may have a solution to this conundrum, and that's former NASA physicist Thomas Campbell, who has spent years working on experiments designed to do just that. Now, thanks to California State Polytechnic University, or Cal Poly, I can say it. He will finally have an opportunity to put these to the test on his mission to obtain strong scientific evidence that we live in a computer-simulated virtual reality. One of Campbell's experiments concerns the double slit experiment, or a physics demonstration which shows how light and matter can behave as both waves and particles. Which, by the way, we have a show coming up in the future with Dr. Bo Kirkwood, which talks about this double slit experiment and about physics in general. He argues that if observers or the observer is removed from the experiment, then the recorded information never actually existed in the first place, because if nobody is there to see it, then it never happened. Like a video game, our reality may be purely participatory. Campbell hopes that his experiments will help to challenge the conventional understanding of reality and uncover profound connections between consciousness and the cosmos, actually proving beyond doubt that our world is a simulation, however, will not be an easy task. So Jess, thoughts? Do we live in a computer simulation, or get over it, it's just a theory?
Yeah, I'm going to go with no. I don't believe it.
Okay.
So it's too weird.
Okay.
Do you believe it?
I think people have taken a movie too far.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think it's
as we do.
It's wishful thinking.
It's a fun theory. I mean, it's fun to think about. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, I'm not buying it either. I really am not. I think people just they took a really nice concept and a great movie and twisted it too far and thought that'd be really cool if we did live in that. And it's people want to escape from reality.
Yes, that is so true. They really, really do.
And they want to believe that reality is not what we think, and maybe there's another reality we really belong to, and that this reality doesn't exist. But reality is reality, folks. We got to deal with it. We got to deal with it. Yeah, we
make the most of it. Enjoy it. It's right. Really beautiful.
It is, and not only that, but you have to live in it. And you have to. Not only do you have to live in it, you have to thrive in it. You have to learn to thrive in it, which takes effort. That's all there is to it. You got to learn to get knocked down and get back up again. That's part of living. So, and it involves getting toughened up. That's from Grandpa Timmy. Our next story, speaking of, is those young people, those youngsters. There's a kind of an alarming story. Actually, it's a funny story to round up this part of our nightmare fuel. Turns out, Jess, that millennials and Gen Z would rather lose their passport on vacation than their phone.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of being lost in reality, a new study has shown that more than a quarter of people born after 1996 would rather lose their passport than their mobile phone while on vacation. I don't think people realize that you're not going anywhere without your passport.
You are stuck.
Yeah, you're permanently stuck on vacation without your passport. A poll of about 2,000 adults who travel abroad revealed that nearly a third of Gen Z and millennials would rather misplace their passports than their mobile phone while on vacation. It's not easy to replace your passport while you're on vacation.
No, it's quite a pain.
If you're on a cruise ship, it is. But if you're by yourself, it's not like you can just walk into your consulate and they go, okay. Because they don't.
You're not going to have your social security card and your birth certificate there to prove your actual identity.
Right.
You're in trouble.
In stark contrast, only 7% of Gen X and 11% of boomers would choose to lose their passport over their mobile phone. Younger generations are twice as dependent on their devices when overseas, with those aged 18 to 27 spending an average of 89 minutes a day on their gadgets during a trip. Meanwhile, Gen X, born between 1965 and 1980, used their device for just 47 minutes on average. And boomers, born between 1946 and 1964, used theirs for only 31 minutes a day. That's a stark difference.
That really is.
Yeah. The desire to stay connected while traveling is clear, with 40% of millennials, those born between 1981 and 1996, and 34% of Gen Z, those born before 1996, confessing they use their phone even more when they're on vacation than at home. Seemingly after some peace, 69% of boomers and 62% of Gen X claim that they use their mobile less when they're on vacation. and only 7% of boomers say they would be concerned about missing out on holiday experiences if they didn't have their phone. According to a poll, 31% of travelers hit with their extra roaming fees while basking abroad have been stung by an average bill of about $55. It's no wonder then that a hefty 77% of vacationers reckon mobile networks should sling them free internet perks while they're trotting around the globe. Lewis Henry of ID Mobile, who ran the survey and chuck in free roaming across 50 destinations, this is across the pond, said you shouldn't have to go without your normal creature comforts when on holiday. Our research found millions of adults rely on their phones while they're away just as much as they do at home. In many cases, they're even more important. While you may not necessarily need to scroll social media when you're on your sunbed, getting directions or weather updates could easily be really handy. Just because you're abroad doesn't mean you should need to worry about additional costs of staying connected. I don't know. When you're traveling, Jess, especially, do you travel overseas a lot, or have you traveled? No?
I'm boring.
Yeah, well, I found when I was on the Jericho cruise, boy, it came in really handy. Or when you travel into any foreign country, it's really handy because places to eat, sightseeing, just getting a hold of family. Sending pictures.
I think just being able to navigate would be the big reason that I would want to have it. You know, like my son's phone broke a few weeks ago and he was just having a hard time going places. Like he was supposed to go meet his friends at a cabin, but he didn't know how to get there. Like you're kind of debilitated if you don't have your map on your phone, because it's not like we really have paper maps anymore.
Yes. Yeah. And people don't know how to navigate paper maps.
No, my kids would not know how to navigate one.
Yeah, yeah. And you ask people, do you know where due north is? They couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
They have no idea. Yeah. So, the phone is even more important than ever now. It's crazy how important it is. Let's move on. An eerie, ghostly face shows up in a photograph of a dark attic doorway. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can cover this up real quick. Do you see it in this picture?
No? I don't see anything.
Now when I do this.
Barely. There's like a little dot or something there.
Okay, let me see if I can get this closer.
Is that supposed to be a head or a face?
I think it's supposed to be a face.
Okay.
But a very eerie spectacle. And I tell you what, we'll post this article in the description of the program as well, so you can see what we're seeing. A very eerie spectacle was recently captured on camera at the dark and foreboding entrance to someone's attic. The image, which was posted onto a Facebook group by Belgian user Gente Andritsos, appears at a glance to be a little more than a shot of an unremarkable doorway. A friend of mine caught this on camera in his attic. They wrote, "What do you guys think?" Upon brightening up the image, it's possible to see what appears to be a human-like face in the upper left-hand corner of the doorway, seemingly just floating there without being attached to anything. It wasn't long before the image began generating quite a lot of interest online. "I'd be moving out. That's what I think," one person wrote, while another added, "Oh, heck no, I'm out." Exactly what the ghostly face actually is remains unclear. Could it be some sort of object hanging up in the doorway, deliberately fabricated hoax, or something genuinely paranormal? That's for you to decide. And I tell you what, again, we'll put it in the description of this program so you can see what exactly it is we're looking at. We have a story this week about an Army veteran who is telling a tale of a terrifying Bigfoot sighting after the beast itself screamed at him. U.S. Army veteran 45-year-old Kelly Stolp claimed he and his friends had a chilling encounter with the elusive Bigfoot in a remote forest in Washington state back in 2020. A 45-year-old electrician and U.S. Army veteran has recounted a spine-tingling tale of what he's convinced was a close encounter with Bigfoot. The eerie experience unfolded as Kelly Stolp, an avid Sasquatch tracker, was camping with friends and family on a secluded forest road in Gifford Pinchot National Forest in Washington on the night of July 17th, 2020. Montana man Stolp, who's no stranger to the great outdoors, recalls being jolted awake at 3 a.m. by a blood-curdling Yeti-like scream. In a panic, instead of grabbing a camera to snap the legendary creature, the experienced hunter instinctively reached for his forearm. Chatting with Oregon Live, Stolp likened the sound to a deep brat-tat-tat and admitted it struck fear into him, though he couldn't pinpoint where the noise was coming from. While Stolp armed himself with his shotgun, his companions, including Mike Pelagi, who's all of 38 years old, a former Army comrade, and his fiancée, who had polished off a bottle of Pendleton whiskey, were sluggish to react. I would think if you're out drinking whiskey in the middle of the forest, Jess, yeah, you're probably not going to jump up and go meet Bigfoot.
A little sluggish from all the alcohol.
Yeah. The next night at the same witching hour, the group was again disturbed by a similar haunting call. This time, the now sober campers, including Pelagi and his fiancée, Olivia Corbin, also reported hearing the sound and feeling the ground tremble with heavy thudding steps close to their tent. Pelagi admitted to being scared as hell, noting that the footsteps seemed to be bipedal, resembling those of a human, which only added to the terror induced by the strange croaks and moans. After the spine-tingling experience, Stolp and his mate scoured the location, yet found zilch about the elusive critter. The squad opted for hush-hush about the freaky event, keen to dodge any nutty professor labels, Stolp's biggest worry. Determined to investigate further, 31-year-old Tanner Hoskins, a confidant of Stolp, established a website called the Pacific Northwest Bigfoot Search in August of 2020, urging the public to report Sasquatch-related encounters. The platform quickly became inundated with over 100 reports. They included a report of similar sounds being heard by a sheriff's deputy near to the scene, as well as other sightings of a hairy two-footed creature by terrified Montana campers. Washington state leads the nation in reported Bigfoot sightings with 713 recorded incidents, followed by California with 461 and Florida with 339, that according to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. Reflecting on his close encounters, Stolp remembers it with a sense of childlike wonder. He told Oregon media, "It brought back magic into my life in a way. Mystery came back because it didn't exist before that. It's like being a kid again."
Love that.
Yeah, so having the shit scared out of you by Bigfoot's like being a kid again. Imagine
That's
that.
right.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but, it is what it is. There's also a werewolf-like creature out there, Jess, that's gone viral on TikTok.
Ooh.
Yeah. The footage shows an unidentified dark-colored creature moving in a particularly eerie and unnatural way. We're going to the streets of Argentina, where some people certainly seem to think that this is the case. The unusual clip, which was reportedly filmed in the city of Reconquista, Santa Fe, went viral after being uploaded onto video sharing social media website TikTok by user Legomez977. I love the names. It shows a peculiar creature that appears to be kneeling or sitting down on a road at night with its limbs outstretched in an unnatural, eerie way that's difficult to make sense of. Its head can also be seen moving up and down. The clip, which racked up a large number of views, likes, and comments, generated some heated debate, with some users suggesting that what it shows is actually a werewolf, something that is particularly entrenched in the local folklore. Others, meanwhile, dismissed the clip as a deliberate hoax. Video shared by a neighbor of Reconquista is a mystery. No one knows what it is. It is not the first time that something like this appears, the uploader wrote. You can check out the clip for yourself. We're going to upload it into the description of this program. the whole article, as a matter of fact, so you can check out the video and see for yourself, and you can determine whether it's werewolf or just trick of the eye. So there you go. So, Jess, human ingenuity or aliens? Who built the pyramids?
Let's go with aliens. It's more fun.
Let's go with aliens. Well, according to archaeologists, they think they found evidence to suggest that it was a primitive hydraulic lift.
I actually believe that. I think that they had so much more capabilities than we give them credit for.
I think that there's a lot of secrets and mysteries that are lost to time. I think there's a lot of old ways that we've forgotten about, and people just don't give us enough credit that we had these ways in olden times to do this stuff. Archaeologists have found evidence to suggest that a primitive hydraulic lift might have been used to move heavy stones, and heavy stones they were. For years, the question of how the ancient Egyptians managed to create such enormous structures using nothing but primitive tools have remained one of the most heated debates in all of archaeology. While several theories might have been put forward, one of the lesser-known possibilities is that the builders of the pyramids used a form of primitive hydraulic lift to remove the stones, or to move the stones into place. In a new study, evidence of such a system has been identified inside the Pyramid of Djoser, which is a structure that was built 4,700 years ago. Ancient Egyptians are famous for their pioneering and mastery of hydraulics through canals for irrigation purposes and barges to transport huge stones, the team wrote. This work opens a new line of research, the use of hydraulic force to erect the massive structures built by the pharaohs. Headed up by Xavier Landreau, president of the Paleotechnic Archaeological Research Institute in Paris, France, this new paper puts forward the notion that a large shaft found the interior of the 200-foot-high pyramid was part of a hydraulic lift system that was used to move the stones using water, which isn't the first time I've heard this.
Yeah, I've heard that theory before, too.
Yeah. We identified that the step pyramid's internal architecture is consistent with a hydraulic elevation mechanism never reported before. Ancient architects likely raised the stones from the pyramid center in a volcano fashion using the sediment-free water. I believe this is Gizir El Medir, a mysterious structure situated less than a mile away, may have acted as a dam that collected rainfall and funneled it through pipes for use during the construction. Once inside the pyramid, the force of the water would have pushed up the central shaft, a bit like a volcanic eruption, elevating up to 100 tons of stone at a time. As things stand, however, this theory has yet to be definitely proven. So interesting, very interesting indeed. Just a couple of stories left here in Supernatural News today. Actually, 3 to be exact. Our first story, Jess, we're about to get our wish. Monkeys will soon rule the earth.
I want them in my restaurant, but I don't want them ruling the earth, Tim.
Oh, but then, Jess, not only will they rule the restaurants, they can run our banking systems, and life will just be funny everywhere.
Can we vote for them for president?
Yes, we can vote for them for president.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, I'm in.
A monkey president. Imagine that. Some say we might have had some in the past, but I'm just saying. A chimpanzee has spoke English in an unearthed footage. Yeah.
Stop it.
That's right. The apes have begun to talk, Jess, and you know what happens after that? Then they start putting humans in cages. And then the Statue of Liberty is on the beach. And then Charlton Heston is in that movie. That's right. A chimpanzee spoke English, and all of a sudden there's fears of a Planet of the Apes type future.
I want to see it speaking. I'm just in here visualizing it in my mind.
Well, here's what the chimpanzee said. Fears of a Planet of the Apes type future have been sparked as scientists claim chimpanzees can say one word. It has long been thought that the key skill separating us humans from our closest living relatives is our ability to speak, and the fact that they can't. However, scientists now claim that chimpanzees have been able to speak all along as an international team of researchers looked over old footage with fresh eyes. The researchers reviewed old experiment footage, some of the chimps kept in grim, unethical conditions as part of a study, according to the Daily Star. Now, while you may think the one word uttered by these caged primates might have been help, that should have been the one word, right?
Yeah.
Scientists believe they saw chimpanzees muttering mama.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Publishing their findings in scientific reports, researchers argue this discovery suggests chimps are capable of speaking in basic languages. Lead author Dr. Axel Ekström of KTH Royal Institute of Technology, Sweden, told Mail Online, there has been an idea floating around neuroscience for a couple of years that the chimp cortex may have been holding them back. The scientists explained that humans have an overlap between that part of the brain responsible for moving the jaw and the area controlling the voice box. This overlap unlocks syllabic speech, the kind we hear in baby babble, which transitions in development to adult speech patterns, that according to Dr. Ekström. The Kuipers-Jürgens hypothesis, which posits that chimps can't speak like humans due to a lack of vocal tract overlap, is being challenged by new evidence. Two recently surfaced videos seem to back up that notion that chimps might actually have the ability to articulate words. The first clip features Johnny from the Suncoast Primate Sanctuary in Florida, who is said to call everyone mama, according to the video's uploader.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that sweet?
It's so sweet.
Another piece of footage from 1962, part of Universal Studios' newsreel collection, captures a chimp called Renata responding to her handler with something resembling the word mama, which intrigued scientists put these alleged verbalizations to the test through an online experiment, where participants listened to the chimp sounds mixed with audio from people with Parkinson's disease and transcribed what they heard. The consensus? Both Johnny and Renata seem to be saying mama.
I love it.
Yeah. Dr. Ekström weighed in, suggesting that this could mean either the cortical overlap isn't as critical as once thought, or that chimps might actually have it. Adding historical context, a 1947 study saw Keith and Catherine Hayes raising a chimp named Vicky as if she were human. They reported that Vicky managed to utter simple words such as mama, cup, and up.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So chimpanzees, it turns out, do have the ability.
And now I want one.
Me too. Except for they can rip your face off. So I'm just saying, I mean, you trade a few words for having your face ripped off. So
okay, I'll stick with a hamster that I can put clothes on.
Which, by the way, you're getting a little response on that post on Facebook about putting hamsters.
Cute.
Yeah, clothes on hamsters. So I still haven't looked into Vikings hoodies for the chipmunks yet, but I am slowly looking into that. Just saying. All right, we're going to go from chimps that can talk and the cute factor, besides having the face ripped off, to a completely creepy story. We're going to end on a bit of a creepier note.
Okay.
We're going to go creepy into semi-creepy for the end of the show. You ready? This is the second to the last story.
Okay.
There's a mystery out there surrounding a starving U.S. woman who was found tied to a tree in India.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You ready for this?
Yeah.
The woman was only found when a local farmer happened to be working nearby and heard her screaming. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Police are currently investigating the peculiar case of an American woman, Lolita Kai, who was discovered chained up to a tree in the middle of a forest in the Indian state of Maharashtra. I'll get it right. I swear by the end of the article. Exhausted, emaciated, and starving hungry, the woman alleged that her husband had chained her and left her in the forest to die without food or water.
What?
Yeah. Upon being rescued, she was quickly taken to a local hospital where doctors were able to determine that she was also suffering from mental health issues. Initially unable to speak, she communicated by writing on a piece of paper. She also claimed to have been given an injection for psychosis that left her unable to close her mouth and prevented her from being able to drink anything. Currently, her health is stable, Hospital Superintendent Dr. Sangamitra Phul told the BBC. She is taking medication, eating, and interacting with people. If she wants something, she can communicate it. She only knows English. It turned out that the woman was a former ballet dancer and yoga practitioner who had moved from the U.S. to India to study yoga and meditation around 10 years ago. Her husband, who she met there, is now a person of interest in the case. Questions still remain, however, as to how and when she had ended up tied to a tree in the forest. Investigations into the case are now ongoing.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Tied up to a tree in the forest. Essentially left for dead.
I hope when they find him, they tie his ass to a tree in the forest.
And see if he can ballet dance his way out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jess. Another creepy story. Woman calls police. She finds a body on the beach. Okay.
Okay. Of a person?
She finds a body on the beach.
Okay.
Of a person. She's shocked by what it is. You ready?
It's a mermaid.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
A woman called police after discovering a body lying head deep in sand. Terrified a murderer was on the loose, only to receive the shock of her life when the cops arrived. You ready for this?
Yeah.
A woman called police after discovering a naked body lying on the beach, but all wasn't as it seemed. In a picture shared to Reddit, what appeared to be a helpless female was left with her head submerged under sand. According to a local report, however, the body turned out to be a very realistic sex doll on closer inspection. That's right. One of our listeners went to Temu.
Get away from it. And I don't want to. It's too funny.
Alice Cowdery, who discovered the doll at Taupe Beach, south of New Plymouth in New Zealand, while walking her dog, described her find as lifelike to the point that it had fingernails, which prompted her to freak out and call the emergency services. Head buried in the sand, torso out.
Oh, best story ever. I don't know who sent this, but God bless him.
I just sort of froze and felt sick, said Alice.
She's traumatized.
This, Jess, is what it looked like when she ran across it.
Oh my gosh. No, it looks so real. I would have actually freaked out as well. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Oh.
Holy cow.
Isn't that something? She went on. I could see it was definitely the shape of a torso, face down, and I could tell it was a woman's figure. Well, it wasn't face down, it was face up. That's the way she likes to. Alice said she assumed there was a murderer on the loose. That is, until the police arrived and said, "No, that's just a fuck doll." I sort of saw one of the cops nudge it with his foot, and I thought, he's not going to nudge it if it's a body, she continued. And then he sort of flipped it over, and it was even more realistic when it was on its back. Oh, so it was face down initially.
Oh,
And then
okay.
he flipped it over. He just went,
Its head's still in the sand, though.
yeah. It had everything. It was very realistic, but obviously you could tell it was a sex doll. Retta couldn't help but poke fun at her ordeal, however. Wow, someone just used it and dumped it into the ocean, one responded. I'm guessing they either got bored of it, realized they didn't need it anymore, and were embarrassed by it and just dumped it. A second theorized, someone tried to bury their shame. Realized how hard actually it is to dig a grave and just shoved its head in and gave up. That's so cruel and unusual.
Oh, that's amazing.
A third quipped, imagine your whole life building up to this moment.
Oh.
The thing is, it's a sturdy sex doll. It's not a little waif. I mean,
Well, right. And there's no way that someone just like threw it away. That was really expensive.
yeah. I mean, look, she's got hips. She's got hips.
I mean, on Temu, that would be like $600.
Yeah, that's a $600 sex doll right there. Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, that's the deluxe version right there.
Yeah.
So.
She got some junk in the trunk.
Yeah, she does. She got hips. She got hips and whips. Hips and whips, chips and dips.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she does. She's actually, see if I can zoom in here. She's got a rack
I
on
need
her.
to see more. I need to zoom in here.
She got a rack on her too. I'm not gonna lie.
She's voluptuous.
Yeah.
They got the voluptuous doll.
Yeah, they did. Which makes me wonder why bury her so soon. I'm just saying. But no, it's fine. Some people's kids. Just saying. So that'll do it for Supernatural News today. That's all I got.
Oh, what a note to end on.
So just figured I wanted to leave you laughing today. That's all. I'm surprised you went to the sex doll bit earlier in the show. I was
Didn't even know it was coming.
That's what she said. Yeah, I wanted to hit you with the punchline at the end of the show. So
Well done. Well played, sir.
yeah. But you have 2 trips that are for sale right now, up and posted. We still have a discount code up, right, for the Palmer House trips.
Absolutely. We have a discount code for the November trip right now, which is Darkness20, all caps. You can get 20% off your tickets and come hang out with Tim and I and my Ghost Stories Inc. crew. A little 1920s fun.
There you go. So Darkness 20, available, Ghost Stories Inc. And we have the link in the description of this program. Also just has 2 books available for pre-sale right now. Pardon me. We have the link in the description there. We also have a link to Jess's website. So check out everything Jess has to offer on her website as well. Tomorrow on the big show, Dr. Charles Liu is with us. And you guys at one time or another say, we don't talk science enough. We don't get sciencey enough on this show. Well, tomorrow, science.
You ask and you receive.
That's right. We're going to get sciencey with Dr. Charles Liu on the show tomorrow. So, yeah. That's all. That's all I got. Yeah, science. Yeah.
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 Hit me with the science and the math and more science.
Yeah. That people are like, so I get to sleep through tomorrow's show? That's what I get to do? No, that's not what we're doing. We're not sleeping through tomorrow's show.
It's going to be interesting for sure.
That's right. We're not sleeping through shows. We're not doing that. That's not what
it's cool science, not boring science.
That's right. We're talking the Handy Quantum Physics Answer Book. Remember I said we were talking quantum physics on the show? So
Yeah.
we're going to talk quantum physics and the simplicity of quantum physics. You know, a lot of times people go, quantum physics. Oh, Tim, quantum physics. Oh, God, what is quantum physics? Why are we talking quantum physics? Here's the deal. So, 5 years or so ago, it was sprung on us that quantum physics may actually be the answer to the afterlife, right? And that the afterlife may actually just be a quantum physics portal or a quantum physics pocket. Okay. So I'm going to have Dr. Charles Liu on the program. He's a PhD, by the way. And we're going to talk about different things like, can something be in two places at once? Or can it be connected across time and space? Or can a cat be alive and dead at the same time?
Ooh,
Huh?
it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. We'll talk about how quantum physics can explain many mysteries of the universe and parallel universes. We'll get into time travel. It's going to be an interesting program. Lots of things having to do with quantum physics and how we can tie these different things together. So, Dr. Charles Liu will be on the program tomorrow, and we'll tie a lot of this stuff together. So interesting program tomorrow, Jess. We're going to different places this month with Darkness Radio.
I like it. And I feel like we're going to get smarter by the end of that program.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be able to walk around and tell our friends random shit at the bar.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, wow, you're brilliant.
And Dr. Charles Liu has a book out there, which you'll be able to get, called the Handy Quantum Physics Answer Book, which you'll be able to take that book and tell your friends stuff that'll blow their mind at the bar. Yeah. Be like, hey, you know what? I know quantum physics.
That's right.
Yeah. There'll be quantum physics. When did you have time to start to study quantum physics? Be like, hey, just never you mind.
You're like, while I was mowing my yard,
Yeah.
listening to a podcast.
That's right. Not only that, but if I can prove this, you owe me a drink. See, and that's how you get free drinks at the bar.
There you go.
Yeah. If I can prove quantum physics to you, you owe me a drink.
You don't just have to be pretty to get free drinks.
That's right.
You can be smart too.
See? See? You got it, Jess. And then you use that knowledge up at the Palmer, you get free drinks in November.
Right.
It all ties together. So that'll do it for today. Again, Dr. Charles Liu on the program tomorrow. We'll be talking quantum physics. And again, use the bet at the bar how your cat can be dead and alive at the same time. Win a drink. Just saying. So for Jessica Freeburg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for listening, folks. Again, there's new stuff up at the store at darknessradioshow.com. Go check it out. We need your Parashare stories. Tim at darknessradio.com or the blue button at darknessradioshow.com. We'll see you tomorrow for Dr. Charles Liu. Thank you for listening to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.